Going in after it. You get that ball in the cub? Oh, there it is. There it is. She's not used to the water. Chili! 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 Da! Dala! Das! Right, so Sunday afternoon, and we're about, I don't know, a few k's outside of Condobolin. This is the Fifield Road, heading towards the Fifield pub. I want to talk to the bloke about music and stuff. Just filled up with fuel. Tilly, schijft of it. Tilly, it's getting too much, mate. Yeah, she don't give a fuck. Yeah, so you know, Sunday. Oops. False alarm. Just got to stop for a sec. I've left my spectacles hanging outside my jacket and my buttons, top button and stuff undone. So we'll tuck them away, shall we? Because otherwise we'll just lose them, and you know they cost a fortune at the $2 shop, or you know, whatever, Crazy Clark's or Dodgy Dave's or wherever it was. Not really going to talk much about the bike today. There's not much to say. It's I haven't done anything with it. I've been away in Cobbs Harbour, visiting my mate Mark, getting my leg. I'm pretty sure I've said this before, but with my my prosthetic leg with my knee, which has got a lot of computer components in it these days, has to go back to Germany every 2 years for a service. So it's been away on holidays for a couple of months, and I had a loan, obviously a loaner. So then I had to go back to Cobbs Harbour and swap them back over and pick mine up and bring it home, etc, etc. I stayed with Mark and we drank too much. Took her to the beach for the second time. I could pretty much say with 100% certainty that wherever Tilly lived before I adopted her, it wasn't near a beach. You'll see, I'll put a short clip at the start of this video and you'll see how it's just got no sense of the water at all, really. No confidence either, you know. No, that's okay. It is what it is. She'll learn as we go along. Not that we'll get to the beach very often. But there might be somewhere for her to swim over at Lake Angelico if and when we get there over the next couple of weeks or so.
I took her to Milestone Beach, which is between my mate Mark's place and Coffs Harbour. One of these places that if you can still barely just find in Australia. You know, I'm sure I've said this 100 times recently too, that, you know, when I was a kid growing up in primary school, 10 or 11 years old, whatever, there were 12 million people lived in Australia, and there were 11 million when I was born in 1961. So we're talking late 60s, maybe 1970. There were 12 million people. And sorry, there was a car behind me, came right up close and then backed right off, so I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, so, you know, as a 10-year-old there were 12 million people. As a 64-year-old there are 26 or 27 million people, so almost 3 times the amount of people in Australia since when I was a child. And so it gets harder and harder to here he comes again. It gets harder and harder to find somewhere quiet and out of the way, but you still can. If you look, I'm talking about on the east coast, you know. On the west coast I'm sure it's, well, I know it's different, though of course it's growing exponentially as well, you know. And well, that guy there's gone off into the dirt like it's nobody's business. And the trick, of course, on the east coast is to go to places like Milestone, where I took her to the beach, when it's not summer or school holidays time and not the weekend. So literally you've got like a 10-mile beach, and I mean, you know, really that long, golden sands, beautiful waves, all that kind of stuff, and there was no one there except me and Tilly and my mate Mark. There's a little cafe there. We had lunch at the cafe. Yeah, it was really nice, and Tilly was able to, you know, get to know a bit about the water, but like for her second trip there, without being hassled by other people or other people with dogs and stuff. But you'll see by the video, you know, she's like not confident in going out into the water, and she didn't know where the ball was going to go. But that's all right, you know, she's a lovely girl. And I called in and saw Kerry again on the way home, which made it a very long trip actually. It's not the sort of trip I do on a bike these days. Now it's basically 1,000 kilometres, you know, from Coffs down to where she lives on the central coast, and then back up, you know, towards Newcastle, then up the valley and blah blah blah, you know. As it was, I left at about 10 in the morning at Mark's place, or a bit later, maybe 10:30, and got home about 1:30 in the morning. You know, which you can do when you're living by yourself and you're in the bush, you know, not disturbing anyone, except Keith, who's like, what? About time you came back. You only left me enough food for a month and you've been gone 2 nights. you know, so that was all right. And it was nice to see Kerry, of course, you know, and it was, I tell you what, it was remarkable with this one. She has never met another dog she doesn't want to fight, you know. And they called into Kerry's, and I had to give her a box of stuff, and she had to give me a box of stuff, you know, just little things, you know, cups, plates, DVDs, whatever. And she said, come and have a cup of tea, you know. I said, oh, all right, if you're going to have one. And I was going to leave Tilly in the car, but she said, oh, no, just put her in the yard and I'll keep Seamus inside, you know. That's okay, so here we go. And Tilly, of course, finds the front door immediately. And just stands at the front door barking, you know, let me in, you pricks. So Kerry let her in. So there's Seamus and there's Tilly. And it's like Seamus is the red cattle dog whisperer, you know, because he had so much experience with Bella. He just cottoned onto Tilly straight away. And next thing you know, they're old friends. It's just quite remarkable, you know. I've never seen her react that way with another dog, but he just knows what to do. And because he spent, you know, most of his life with Bella, it's like he just instinctively knows what to do with Tilly, and that was just brilliant, you know. I love that. So there's hope for her, you know. And she's already a lot better with humans. I mean, she's really good with Mark now. She knows him. She's been good with Kerry from the start, because Kerry knows what to do, you know. And she's a lot better with people in general now, you know. Some left a bit of their tyre behind, as it happens. I was thinking about going to the pub here, then coming back and going home by the Darrywong Road, which is about, I don't know, 20, 25, maybe 30 kilometres of dirt. And then I thought, I'm thinking maybe not. That's another bit of that tyre. Because the last time I went it, there were about 50 kangaroos. Just probably not a great idea. She's barking a lot in the sidecar at the moment. I'm not sure what that means. Normally she settles down when we get to a decent speed. Now that's the Darrywong Road there. I'll probably go over to Tullamore and back that way. Christ! Anyway, it's a nice day today. It's a cooler day. It was quite humid yesterday and warm, you know, 34, 35. But then we also got a southerly change through, and the temperature dropped right down last night to about 5 degrees, and now it's only about, I don't know,
low to mid 20s, which is very nice for riding, which is one of the reasons why we're out for a bit of a ride, to take advantage of that while a couple of cooler days last. It won't be too long before it just gets hot and then stays hot, you know. At the moment we're still getting cool breaks in between the hotter days, so and it hasn't actually gotten really hot yet. The top temperature we've had's been 39 2 or 3 times, but we haven't cracked 40 yet, so that'll probably happen either later this month or in December. Ooh. This is a rough bit of a corner, this one. Oy. It's remarkable how every time I start the bike up, there's a bloody massive wind comes up. You know, I took her for a walk this morning and did a load of washing and pegged it out on the line, and there was like a slight breeze. as soon as I get near the bike, up it comes, you know, maybe 60-70 kilometre an hour westerly, you know, southwesterly, I guess. Look out, bird! Look out, bird! Everybody speeds like fuck on these back roads. Okay, I'm going slow, but you know, even when I'm in the car and I'm doing 100, 110, everyone goes past 120, 130. You know, it's no wonder they keep hitting skippies and killing themselves. Not necessarily killing themselves hitting skippies, but kill themselves hitting trees and stuff, you know. Sounding like the old man that I am. Hey, young kiddies always fucking going too fast, blah blah blah. Blah. I enjoy this ride though between Condo and Fifield. It's got a little bit of everything, you know. Well, I don't suppose it's got tight twisty stuff really, but we're still not going to go around corners fast on this thing. There's the other bloke up there overtaking the other fella. The bike will sit comfortably at this speed, but the handling is not great. Crosswind's making me have to lean into it. I really do wonder, like, you know, this bike is a lot more affected by the wind than the old girl and the Triumph. Okay, it's a fair bit lighter, you know, than both bikes, but it's not a light bike. You know, like just the bike itself would be 250 kilos. Plus the sidecar, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I really wonder, I'm sorry, I wasn't going to talk about the bike, was I? I'm just going to say this one thing. I really, like I've said it a couple of times, but I really have to wonder, even though I've said it jokingly, whether that solid front rim really does play a role with it being moved around so much by the wind. Seems unlikely. But I have heard people on Harley forums and stuff, or wherever, you know, talking about that idea a while ago with the Fat Boy. Till he finally decided to quieten down. This thing handles like a dog. Well, I don't know why we say things like that about dogs. Dogs are brilliant. Surprising amount of cars on the old Fifield road today. Fuck me. I wonder if I should soften the front end a bit more and soften the rear shock. Trucks. How about you pop over on your side? That'd be good. I'd appreciate that. of wheat been planted this year. Last year it was mostly canola. This year it's mostly wheat. Visit the historical Fifield pub. They call it the pub in the scrub, but there's about 100 pubs in the scrub. Just like there's probably about 100 black stumps, you know. About past a black stump. It's yeah. Good girl. You stop there, eh? I'll have a cold drink.